The observation deck of Station Caros 7 had seen many species pass through its corridors, but nothing quite prepared the crew for the chaos that arrived in Cargo Hold 3. Tara pressed her scaled forehead against the reinforced glass, her reptilian eyes fixed on the containment unit below. Inside, 3 dragon hatchlings, no bigger than house cats, shrieked and spat flames at anything that moved. The Draconid security officer's tail lashed in frustration. 17 handlers injured in 2 cycles, she hissed to Commander Vex's lore, a towering Craxi whose exoskeleton clicked with agitation. We cannot even approach to feed them. They are feral, abandoned too young. Protocol demands euthanasia. The commander's mandibles clacked thoughtfully. The Galactic Conservation Board will have our station license. These are critically endangered. There must be another way. Tara had tried everything. Pheromone therapy failed. The hatchlings were too young to respond to Draconid calming scents. Sedation darts bounced off their naturally armored hides. Even the station's empaths couldn't penetrate the wall of primal fear and rage surrounding the creatures' minds. Every species in the galaxy had taken their turn, and every one had retreated with burns, scratches, or worse. That's when Wyatt emerged from the maintenance shaft, grease-stained and whistling an off-key tune. The human mechanic had been 3 levels down, fixing a coolant leak in the station's atmospheric recyclers. At 6'2", with permanently oil-stained fingers and a shock of unruly brown hair, Wyatt was unremarkable by human standards, which made him utterly fascinating to most of the station's inhabitants. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic stage, their admission barely a generation old. "What's the crowd for?" Wyatt asked, peeling back his thermal work suit and revealing a sweat-soaked t-shirt underneath. He carried a dented metal lunchbox under one arm. "Hatchlings," Tara explained curtly. "Feral. Dangerous. Move along, human." But Wyatt had already spotted them through the observation window. His eyes lit up with an expression Tara had learned to recognize among humans, fascination mixed with complete disregard for sensible self-preservation. "Baby dragons? Oh man, they're adorable." "Adorable?" Commander Vex Lore's translator struggled with the human word. "They have sent 3 beings to medical with severe plasma burns." End quote. Wyatt pressed closer to the glass, his breath fogging it. The hatchlings below were obsidian, scaled with amber eyes that burned with suspicion. One was attempting to chew through the titanium bars of their enclosure. "They're just scared," Wyatt observed. "Babies usually are when they're alone." He glanced at his chronometer and shrugged. "Mind if I take my lunch break down there? Been working for 6 hours straight." Every alien in the observation deck turned to stare at the human. "You want to enter the containment area?" Tara's voice rose an octave. "Did your translator malfunction? These creatures are hungry, scared, and probably lonely." "Yeah, I got it." Wyatt was already heading toward the access lift. "Look, I'm not going to touch them or anything. I just want to sit down somewhere that isn't covered in coolant fluid." Commander Vex Lore and Tara exchanged glances. The human species was known for their bizarre risk tolerance, but this bordered on suicidal. However, watching through cameras might provide valuable behavioral data. "Very well," the commander decided. "But we maintain a medical team on standby." The containment area fell silent as Wyatt entered. The hatchlings immediately fixated on him, their small bodies tensing. One hissed, smoke curling from its nostrils. Wyatt ignored them completely. He walked to the far corner as far from the creatures as the space allowed and sat down cross-legged against the wall. From his lunchbox, he withdrew items that made Tara's olfactory sensors twitch even through the observation deck's filters. "What is that smell?" she whispered. One of the station's human xenobiologists consulted her datapad. "Appears to be fried chicken, a traditional Earth protein, and something called potato salad. The thermal signature suggests it's still warm." Wyatt bit into the chicken with obvious satisfaction, completely unconcerned with the 3 pairs of amber eyes now locked onto him with laser focus. The hatchlings had stopped hissing, their small heads tilted in unison, nostrils flaring. One of them chirped a sound no one had heard them make before. "Did you record that?" Commander Vexlord demanded. Wyatt continued eating, humming that same off-key tune. He pulled out a container of something green and leafy, which he also began consuming. The hatchlings crept forward. Inch by cautious inch. "They're approaching," Tara breathed. "This is impossible." The boldest hatchling, the one who'd been attempting to eat the titanium bars, made it within 6 feet of Wyatt before the human even acknowledged its presence. He glanced up, still chewing. "Hey there, buddy. You hungry?" He tore off a small piece of chicken and tossed it gently toward the hatchling. It landed a foot away from the creature, who sniffed it suspiciously before snatching it up and swallowing it whole. The hatchling's eyes widened, and it made a sound somewhere between a purr and a rumble. Within minutes, all 3 hatchlings had surrounded Wyatt, competing for scraps of his lunch. When the chicken ran out, he pulled out what appeared to be cookies, breaking them into small pieces. The dragons ate from his hands, their previous aggression completely forgotten. "Unbelievable," the human xenobiologist murmured. "They're exhibiting classic pack-bonding behavior. They've imprinted on him. But why?" Tara demanded. "What does this human possess that 17 trained handlers do not?" Commander Vexlord's mandibles spread in what might have been amusement. Fried chicken, apparently. Below, Wyatt had somehow ended up with a dragon hatchling in his lap, another draped across his shoulders, and the third trying to climb into his empty lunchbox. He looked up at the observation deck and gave a sheepish wave. "So," he called up, his voice carrying through the comm system. "I'm guessing I'm gonna need a bigger lunchbox?" Tara watched as the human mechanic covered in grease, sweat, and now dragon hatchlings became the galaxy's most unlikely xenobiologist. The creatures that had terrorized 17 handlers were now competing to see who could get closest to him. Perhaps, she thought, there was something to be said for the human approach to problem-solving. It wasn't elegant, it wasn't scientific, and it certainly wasn't what any protocol would recommend. But it worked. And judging by the way Wyatt was now attempting to explain to 3 dragon hatchlings why they couldn't all fit in his lunchbox at once, the station had just gained its strangest and most effective animal handler: human persistence, human food, and human stubbornness. Sometimes, Tara reflected, the galaxy's newest species had lessons to teach them all.